Okay, welcome back after lunch. Now we will do something that is often quite popular among students, something called peer instruction. How many of you have ever participated in this kind of peer instruction? Oh, some of you have actually. Oh, so this is not something that we've just taken out of the air and trying. It's a method that was developed. I think it's a professor in physics at Harvard who did this the first time, and they have done some research on this method of teaching, and they can show quite good results when it comes to students learning the content before the exam. So basically, students taking peer instructions instead of only lectures will have a better result on the exams, and that's why we are trying it on you guys, because you are having an exam next week. The method works like this. If you visit this link on your smartphone or on your computer, you will be presented with a page where questions will pop up. You will vote on those questions. It could be single option or multiple option questions. So be prepared that sometimes you can answer, several answers can be right. You vote, that is totally anonymous. I can't see which one of you votes on what. It's totally anonymous between yourselves as well. The only thing I can see is you as a whole, as a group, the result of what you voted. If you, and I should change the screen to that. If you, as a group, have a good result, I could just skip ahead. So next question, and next question, because you know this topic. However, if we can see that under 70% of you answers correctly, you will have a short discussion. And the discussion will be like with the neighbors in the classroom. So you will just turn around or something like that, just to have someone to discuss to in like groups of 3-4 persons. After the discussion or during the discussion, you will vote again at the end of the discussion. Hopefully, the ones of you that got this topic could explain for the others why they are wrong. And the ones that got it wrong might not have the strongest of facts or alternatives to show to the other person. And we will go on like that. Of course, we will try this with an example question. For those of you following this lecture as a recording or on distance, it will not be as fun. You could, of course, if you're live right now, you could participate. You have no one to discuss with, though, if you don't like tag up with someone on Slack or something like that. If you look at this as a recording, you will only have to like look at a lot of empty discussions. But, well, that's up to you. Okay. Have everybody gone into this page? And you will probably see like something like that right now. Then everything is okay. I will tell you when I release the question. If you don't see the question on your phone or your laptop, just refresh the page. Sometimes the refreshing doesn't work, but often it does. Okay? You will normally get like 1 or 2 minutes for each question. We can't have like 5 minutes, because then everybody would probably get it right, because you would Google the result and you will like answer correctly. So we want to test what you know as of right now. Okay, so visit that page. Yeah.
All these questions recorded, I mean, you can get it later on, so you can check it.
Yeah, the recording will, I mean, this is recorded, but you will not be able to access the questions afterwards, but you could always see the questions on the recording. Yeah. Then you have written a D instead of a B. I've done this a couple of times.
Yeah. The discussion will be after we answer the question.
I will tell you. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Don't discuss during the first, when you should answer the question yourself without discussion or looking at anyone others. So first of all, just answer the question by your own. Okay? I will start, and you will get 1 minute for this first question, okay? You ready? What is the Swedish word used for occasionally meeting up with, let's see. Yeah. What is the Swedish word used for occasionally meeting up and having a cup of coffee? Is it kräftskiva, pyjamasparty, fika eller parkbänk? No discussions.
Answer, but the page appears once again.
With alternatives or?
Yeah.
Try to vote again then. See if it's. Okay. 10 seconds. Please vote. Please vote. If you haven't. This is just a test, so. Okay, so we got the result. 31 voted. You are like that in this room, so I think we are pretty much there. So, in this case, most of you got it right. Without one, usually drink coffee on their pajamas parties. So, in this case, it's obvious, you know this topic, so we could just move over to the next one. However, if it was like, that was the correct one, then we've done something really wrong. And I will tell you that later. But I've seen, we do this with the first graders in Kalmar, and many of you are third graders here in Växjö. And I've noticed that you behave differently as a group. We'll see if that's correct today as well, but I will come back to that. Do you see this one now? Voting has ended, you can no longer vote. Yeah, so let's start with the real questions then. The first one is has to do with communication over HTTP. Let's see. Got one question, 1 minute. What is true regarding communication over HTTP? Multiple choice. Ten seconds. Please vote. In this case, most of you have done your homework, so actually both those are correct. The server sends a response to the client's request, and the client initiates the request to the server. The client does not send a response to the server's request. The server cannot, not normally at least, send requests to the browser, and the server doesn't. That one's the same. No, almost. Yeah. Okay, so you knew that one. We will move on then to the second one. What is an example of an HTTP method? 10 seconds, so please vote now. Actually, in this case, we need a discussion. And so now you will have 2 minutes to discuss this question. I will post the question again, so you will be able to vote. Don't vote until you've had the discussion or you are sure on your answer. Excuse me? You will not see the result. You will just have to trust me that you need a discussion. So just team up with people sitting next to you. Make sure no one is left behind. And you get 2 minutes starting now. You could turn around if you like, or yeah. Yep. So you have like 20 seconds to vote, so if you haven't, please do. Should be able to vote once again. 10 seconds. Great. So some of you are convinced, not all of you. So this is the result. And the light one is the one before, and the dark one is the one that is the newest one. So some of you were into this, the XML HTTP request. So the question is, what is an example of a HTTP method? And an HTTP method is like get, post, delete, put, not update, and so on. This is an API in the browser for making network requests, basically. 200 OK, what is that? Yeah, status code. And what is that? Yeah, the content type. Yep. Great. Now you know the form. I could tell you what my observation was, is that in Kalmar, when the first graders do this, it could be quite look like this, and then after this discussion, more or less everybody is on the correct answer. Whereas with third graders, there is often not much of a change. And I guess it depends on that. If you've studied for 3 years, you're pretty sure that I know what, I hold my ground. But when you're new to programming and there is someone in the group who knows this, they all just fold, yeah. So we'll see. But please have an open mind. Okay, number 3. Which, and you will get a minute on this one as well, which browser component is responsible for drawing on the screen? Please vote. Uh, 2 minutes starting now. Discussion.
By drawing is like, you mean it shows something on the browser, on the screen, right? Or drawing? No. You just mean like the thing on the screen, right?
Yeah, so what is actually putting out the pixels?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Okay, so 10 seconds, please take your votes. So there was quite a lot of discussions regarding this one, and it's a slamkrypare, what's that, mud skipper on purpose, just to get a discussion. It has one correct answer, and this stems from the article that I posted as a reference to the lecture where I talked about the browser components, and in that article this is addressed. Sorry to say though that it's, I mean, which browser component is responsible for drawing on the screen, and by that I mean putting the actual pixels on the screen, and that is the UI backend. So the browser has a UI backend that draws everything on the screen. The rendering engine, that is more like combining JavaScript and HTML and flowing it and composing the page. But the UI backend will draw the page. So, yeah. The JavaScript engine, well, that will execute JavaScript. The network stack will handle network traffic. The browser engine, I mean, this is, in some cases you will see the browser engine and the rendering engine being named as one of the same, but browser engine is more of both interpreting the HTML and rendering, both together. Yeah, so we know it's looked like this every year, so we know that it. But a big thumbs up to those of you who stuck with UI backend. Okay, number 4. So why, I will read the question before I start the timer. Why do we not want styling to be done in our JavaScript files? And you will have multiple choice and 1 minute. So 10 seconds, please vote. Multiple choice. You know this, looks like at least. So CSS generated from JavaScript will not be rendered. Well, it will. You can generate CSS from JavaScript. You could modify the CSS in any way you like. It's not a security issue writing CSS inside of the JavaScript, but it's a hell to like maintain the code if you put a lot of style information inside of JavaScript. You could mix however you like. You could write JavaScript inside of CSS. That is often a security issue, though. Could be, at least. Many famous worms have propagated through pages because JavaScript was rendered inside of CSS. Okay, skip that one. Why is it recommended to place script tags at the bottom of the HTML file? Okay, so 10 seconds soon. Start your vote. Well, actually, 2 minutes. Ten seconds, please vote. So yeah, so mixed result. The script will have increased performance. No, it will not. It will run just as fast as if it were loaded anywhere else on the page. It will, depending on how you do it, it will actually run later because the whole of the page needs to be loaded before it runs. Often that is a way we want to do it because we often need to manipulate the DOM, and the DOM, the last one, the DOM hasn't rendered until the page has loaded completely. We could solve this by watching or waiting for an onload event on the window object, for instance. So there are other ways to do it as well, but that statement is correct anyway. The DOM is rendered before we try to manipulate it. Loading the script will not block rendering of HTML, and that is what will happen if we load the script in the top. If we don't use like async, defer, something like that, when we load it on the HTML tag. The HTML code will be easier to read. Well, that is up to the maybe up to the developer to I wouldn't say it will be easier, but okay, it will. You could say that by actually placing all the scripts in the header tag, it will be a much more preferred way of doing it. Therefore, it will be easier to read. So yeah, and I mean, when I heard your discussions, the good thing with oral hearings next week, as you will find out, how many of you have had oral hearings in the courses before, or have written? Most of you have had written exams, right? Yeah, so if this was a question on a written exam, you might have answered just, okay, that one, and that one, and then you were wrong. However, if this was an oral hearing, you would probably explain why you think the HTML code would be easier to read, and we will say, yeah, fine, I'm good with that. I mean, the good thing with a hearing is that we could actually have a discussion. So it's not like if you misinterpret some question or something like that. It's about what you actually know. Okay, any comments or questions? If you don't agree, please say. Okay, next one. We will start looking at code soon, I think. Yeah, so do we need to book the oral hearing? Yeah, Monday time slots will be released on the course webpage on Monday for Wednesday. So, once again.
Like the deadline for the release is Wednesday, but we can't book any slots that we haven't made.
You will be able to book slots anyway. So we please, if you will not finish, please do not book a time, because then we will sit here just waiting for someone not showing up. So you should only book time if you think you will be able to make it in time. If you don't make it in time, then don't remove your time, or if you have booked. If you have like bugs, something like that, you're not completely finished with some part, that the timer doesn't work or the high score doesn't work, something like that, you could still book a time. We will look at the assignment, have the questions, and you will probably just have to do some complementary work and hand it in later.
Is all of the oral hearing on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you will be able to participate over Skype if you like.
Okay.
Most of you need to do it over Skype, actually, since I'm the only one being here. The rest of the staff is in Kalmar. Okay, number 6. You will get 30 seconds on this one, okay? Which object is the global object in the browser? Ten seconds. Which object is the global object in the browser? Oh, so close. 1 minute. Discussion. Okay, so 10 seconds. Please take your vote again. I actually didn't say oh because you were bad. You were actually pretty good as a group on this one. But you didn't reach the goal of 70. So that's why we had a discussion. So it stands between the document and the window. So the window is the global one. Document is a object on the window object. So you could write window.document. But there is a shorthand in the browser saying that you could just write document if you like. Just like you could write set timeout if you like. But the preferred way maybe is to write window.set timeout. I think actually the standard code standard we are using, standard.js, will force you to use the window object, like window.setTimeout, window.fetch, window.xml. It doesn't? Okay, well, then it's fine. But it did with fetch, right? When we tried, so I'm not sure. Okay, good work. Object is like, I mean, that's just a general object, the most upper one if you do inheritance and stuff, just like in Java. Module is just there to confuse you. Can we use node? This is 30 seconds as well. We will continue on that track. Can we use node modules, modules.export, out of the box in the browser? Come on. It stopped working, but yeah, now it works. 20 seconds.
Oi.
10 seconds. Oh, discussion, 2 minutes. Please start the discussion. And yeah, start the discussion. I should just clarify, and by out of the box, I mean like, can you do it natively with just as it is in the browser? 20 seconds. Please vote, please vote. Yes or no? Oh, damn it. It got worse. Okay. So, first of all, node modules, that is nodes, the way node handles modules and dependencies, and that is for node. That is a pretty common way of doing it even in the browser, but you cannot do it out of the box. You cannot do it without doing something before you deliver the code to the browser. On the exercises, what do we do between you write your code and you execute it in the browser? What's the step between?
You require something, then export it from.
Yeah, you export in your source code, but if you look at the code in the browser, that is not what is being executed.
Build.js.
Yeah, we have some kind of build process in the middle, and this build process, we're using Webpack for this course. In my examples, I've used Jekyll, but it's like the same thing. What it does, it interprets the code and translates it so it doesn't need modules, because we don't have modules in the browser. So no, you cannot use node modules out of the box in the browser. You need some kind of build step in between, and we use Webpack for that build step. Okay? Wait, this was 8. 1 minute. What is true regarding those options? Click or check those who are true. 1 minute. Oh, shite. It's an old question. Yeah. We'll see. Fifteen seconds. No. So this was a bad question because I checked all the code questions. They come up soon, but I forgot those. So Vagrant was the environment we used to run code last year. It's not needed to be able to build JavaScript applications. Browserify was replaced with Webpack. That's an indication that you actually don't need Browserify. You could use something else. You don't need to have a build step, but then you can't utilize things like modules. So that's also a tool that you can use if you like. JavaScript can run both on client and server. Yes, I mean, we have Node running Java in Node on the server, for instance, or in the browser, or in Electron, or whatever. The only way to debug in the browser is to use console log or alert. No, you could use the built-in debugger if you like. Okay, skipping that one. This one is interesting. What is best practice to be able to use for each on a node list? 10 seconds. Guess what? 2 minutes.
Det ser ut som man måste väl låna narrativ.
Twenty seconds. Anyone want to defend this one? No, but I mean, could be the correct one.
I mean, 1 and 3, because both of them handling arrays. Yeah.
That one is possible. Elvis operator. No one said that. Do you have the Elvis operator in Java?
I don't know
or
about
is it a C# thing then, I guess? I just think it's a cute name, so has nothing to do with JavaScript. Borrow the array prototype using call. That's one way of doing it. This is not possible. It's definitely possible. So it's between the first and the third. You could do it either way. However, best practice, I would say anyway, is that one. To borrow it using call. This one, extending built-in prototypes, is not the recommended way. I mean, you could just borrow the for each and placing it on the node lists prototype, and now node lists will have a for each method. Works like one row of code. It's simple, and you could use it all over your code. However, there is always a risk that the browser will soon enough implement the for each on the node list, and then you will override it. Well, you could do some fancy code just testing if it's defined, then you override it or else not. So you could get around that. However, it's often recommended to never touch the built-in objects in the browser, even if you can. So this shows the flexibility in JavaScript pretty well. You could do like whatever you like. If you see, I mean, in Java, you would probably do something like extending to get functionality from other objects or classes. In JavaScript, you could just look at an object and say, oh, well, I like that function, and just borrow it on your object. And so it's kind of another way of looking at it. Okay? One more, then we take a short break. How do you create a new element node using JavaScript? Whoop. Fifteen seconds. Hmm?
You can put something even if you are guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a valid point. If you don't know, guess. That, I mean, make your best chance. Don't just leave the vote. Just guess if you don't know. Otherwise, only the ones knowing will answer, and then we will get a skewed result. 2 minutes. So 15 seconds, please vote. Good. Yeah, everybody's voting. Well, I will formulate this question in another way next year. I don't think the is good. Would you have hands up? How many would have changed their votes if I said which are the ways you could create new element nodes using JavaScript? Did anyone get tricked on the A? You did?
Yes.
Yeah. Because
It's not complete because you're talking about an element.
yeah. So Okay, let's go over them. Document create element node. Yes, that is correct. That is like the way you create new element nodes using JavaScript. What you will get is just an empty node and you fill it up with whatever you like, with attributes and such. Create text node, however, that will create not an element node, it will create a text node. So that's just a text inside that you often place inside of an element node.
So it doesn't create an element.
It doesn't create an element, no. It creates a text node. You could call that text node maybe, and no, that's a text node. It's not an element. Okay? And this is the type element node. So this is clearly specified. So node.create element node, that we made up. I have no idea about the syntax, but some of you like the syntax anyway. So that's that. Yeah, I will propose that for V3C for the next implementation. This one, document.import node, will actually create nodes as well.
But doesn't it
You don't know the type. Like,
Huh?
Doesn't it import instead of creating a node?
It doesn't create.
It's a subtle difference, but it's a difference.
When you do the import, it will like take the template and will create a DOM structure from the template.
Like cloning.
We'll not place it inside of the DOM, but that will not create element 2 either. It will just create it in the background. So, but what I meant was a new element. I mean, but if you have a template containing just an element, then you could use import to just create that element. Often we use it to import more or create more. But yeah, I will probably have to reformulate that one. Okay. We will take 5 minutes just to be able to stand up, open a window, open the door, go to the bathroom. So 5 minutes. Okay. So I got a question in the break, and I could address it for everybody. So the question was this: what should we do in this assignment with the questions? Should we like construct just our own questions, or how does it work? Well, you should not. The questions will be handed to you dynamically on this URL. So what you will do in your program is to make a request using, for instance, XML HTTP request or fetch or something else to that URL. And back you will get JSON. And in that result, you will have a question. And you will also have information on where to go next. Use that information to present the question to the user. When the user answers the question, you use the information about what to do next to send the answer to the server. If you do and you get a correct answer, you will get a new or information about how to get the next answer, or the next question, sorry. And you just keep on doing that. Beware, however, we could change those questions anytime. So on the examination, those questions might be completely different. There might be fewer questions, more questions. They will all follow the same format, multiple choice or single choice, but we could change the questions. Okay? You do not need to run your own server. We have the server on this address, so you no need to do a server. This is just, source code is down here if you want to look at the server, but you don't need to do that if you don't like. Someone asked if we needed to use Vagrant. No, there was an old, I changed it last week. It said Vagrant in the beginning. I've removed that. You work with this one in the same way you work with the exercises. So it's the same thing, but you work in your examination 2 repository instead of in the examination repository, instead of in the exercise repository. Okay? Moving on. Where are we? 14. Okay, so on this question, we have code, and Pingu doesn't support code. So I will have a presentation with the question, and you will see the alternatives in front of you. So, given this HTML, well, this doesn't match. Well, let's see if they match. I'll start the one. No. Well, give me a second. I will stop this one. There is a mismatch. What? Oh. Well, okay. Apparently, this is the question. So, given this HTML and JavaScript, which classes is set on the div? This one.
What do you mean by set included in the div? You mean?
This div will have classes set when this code has been run, which classes are set on the div. Okay? And you get 2 minutes on this one, starting now.
What does tuple do?
20 seconds. Okay, so please start voting now if you haven't. If you don't know, make a qualified guess. Well, 7 didn't make a qualified guess because I missed some votes. We need a discussion, of course. 2 minutes. Okay, so it's 15 seconds. You need to start your vote. 10 seconds, please vote. Oh my. So this is quite evenly spread. Okay. Who would like to defend this one? Okay, yeah, someone. Okay, good. This one?
Can we see the code?
This one? I would just.
Let's discuss the code.
Yeah, we will. That one is the correct one. The second one. So, we're starting off with a div with two classes, number and red. That's the initial state. Okay. Then we query this one. That is just to get a reference to the div, so doesn't matter. Then we have the set attribute. And if you've done a lot of programming, this will be quite obvious what this does, because it's a set. It doesn't say add or something like that. It says set. And set will mean just remove the old things and set it to this. So class will now be only blue. Number and red are gone. We remove number and red and we add blue. Okay? Then we take the div class list. Class list is another way, a more modern way of working with classes, a better way, I would say. We take the class list, we toggle number, but since number is not there anymore, it will be toggled to be there. So now we have blue and number. Then we add tiger. Blue, number, tiger. Blue, number, tiger. And if you get tricked on, I mean, if you miss this one, the toggle will do it the wrong way. Yeah. Okay. Number 15. The question is, why do we use templates? Whoa, and you only get 1 minute on this one. No. Now you get 1 minute. I'm sorry, 2 minutes.
Men det skulle lika väl...
20 seconds, 20 seconds. The performance, I mean, the performance is better than creating nodes using a JS. I don't think so. It's probably using the same APIs for creating nodes as you would do if you were using them. There might be a difference, might be a difference when you, but I mean, if you will have to write a lot of code to replicate what you could do by adding a template or importing it from a template. However, that code will optimize, and I guess it will be pretty similar to the ones that were used when using the templates instead. So there shouldn't be not much of a difference anyways. But if you could argue on an exam, that would not be completely wrong. So they help us separate HTML from JS, and if you haven't noticed, I have been like this on separating JavaScript, HTML, and CSS all the time. And this is one way of doing that, being able to write your HTML in templates instead of like tangling everything together in one file. Well, if you're using React or something else, you might have a different opinion about separating HTML from JS, but when in this stage, this is important. No one believed that one. The caching part, JavaScript code is cached in the browser if it's in a separate file. Templates are probably also cached. We will see in the next part of the course that we have really nice ways of handling the cache coming up soon in the new browser APIs. So we could cache exactly whatever we like, whenever we like. However, right now we leave it up to the browser, but browser will cache files, basically. Question?
You are talking about the template element?
I'm talking about the template element templates in templates that you place in HTML and import using import node, for instance.
I have a question regarding the oral hearing.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be like that.
Yeah. So
we have alternatives and then we argue.
So the question is, what about the oral hearing? Will it be like this, or how will it be? So. Hello. This one is in the way. Why don't you move? Okay. This is a typical oral hearing question. So we will say, okay, look at this. What will be the result of, or what classes will this div have in the end?
And you have the alternative.
No.
Just a question. Yeah, but the dot toggle, we never use that. I never use that. So are you gonna?
I had it on a lecture.
Okay.
But I mean, we will not use obscure API calls. I mean, this one, if you've used class list once, class list toggle should be quite obvious. So, but it will not be like okay, so what does, if you initiate a fetch, which 8 properties will be in the list of, it's nothing like that. It will be this understanding of code. You will see more examples of code soon. Yep.
So in this example for toggle, as you said, set attribute, if I'm not familiar with this method, can I say I'm going to search what this method does?
Yeah, exactly. I assume it does this. And then you just continue. So then your logic will like add up. Even if it's wrong, I will know why. And so yeah, please do. Just think out loud. But we will coach you in that way anyway. So yeah, it's usually not a problem. We've done this so many years now. Okay, I will rush to the next one. We have some more to. I would like to know. I will not like to know. Yeah, now we're on top. So more code. Given this code, in what order will the animals be logged? 1 minute starting now. Uh, 12 seconds, so please start voting. One minute discussion, starting now. T 10 seconds. Was a short discussion. Good. This one, dog, cat, bird. So this was more or less the topic of this morning. So this code is on the stack. It will be there until it's completed. We cannot remove it because it's not asynchronous in an async function. So this code is like just on the stack. It will log dog. Then it will set a timeout for 0 milliseconds, telling the browser to run this code, or actually placing this code on the queue. We'll continue. It will log cat. When this one returns and there is nothing else in the queue and the browser has placed this function in the queue, it will be run presumably after this code returns, more or less. So dog, cat, bird, even though it says 0. 0 is just a minimum value. just listening and so yeah. So when you see code like this, assume that it's in a file, like so. There is not like So this is like just executed from top to bottom. We can't see the context, so we will just have to assume that this is like in the global context or something. But it shouldn't matter in this case. Yep.
Yeah, but actually, if we are taking one by one, so we start from the doc, then we'll execute or not executing the function. I don't know. Should we execute the set time because it means immediate?
No, yeah. But as I said this morning, it will execute set timeout, and set timeout will take this anonymous function and tell the browser to run it, put it in the queue. And the queue or the event loop will put it up in the stack after this code has returned. This is a typical oral hearing question as well. Okay. Okay, more code. What is written in the log when the button is clicked? And you get 2 minutes. This one. Twenty seconds. 10, please vote. Two minutes discussion.
Men sen sa du någonting att den gick tillbaka.
15 seconds.
Stop propagation.
Can you see this? Should I lower this one? Hope I don't break anything. So, we have two phases for events, right? What are they called?
One has a bubble. Check that one.
Someone said bubble. Is the green or the red the bubble?
Red.
Yeah, this is the bubble phase. What's that one called?
Rock.
Capture. Okay, so we have two phases, capture and bubble. And when the browser resolves something, it will go like this: capture and then bubble. When we set events like this, just without adding anything in the end, will it be on the bubble or the capture phase?
Without the stop.
No, without adding a flag to the add event listener, which you normally don't add.
On the bubble side?
Yeah, on the bubble side. So the events will be here. We will have one click handler on the div and one on the button. And then the user clicks. Click. Then the browser will start up here. It will look. Is there a capture event on the div? No. Is there a capture event on the bubble? No. Is there a bubble event on the button? Yeah, there is. And it will run the code inside of the click for the button. What does stop propagation mean?
Don't handle it anymore, so don't push the event, right?
Yeah, it will just stop right there. Don't continue. So it will stop. It will never reach that one. However, you can add a flag. I think if you add true as a third argument to add event listener, you can move it so that this one is there instead. Then it would say the div and not the button. Okay?
Is it the flag? Is it mentioned in the floor?
Yeah, yeah. I had it on my slide, but I don't remember. It's so seldom you use it, so just know that events are placed on the bubble as default.
Unless we look at the flag.
Yeah. Yeah. We will not ask for the flag. Okay, so next question. What is wrong with this code? And you get only 1 minute for this one. Oh, sorry for you. 10 seconds, please vote. No, 2 minutes. Twenty seconds. Yeah, so it got worse. But yeah, I heard your discussions, so I know why it got worse. So what I heard was, but there's nothing wrong with the code. Well, that depends on how you define wrong. So it will not generate a runtime error. It will compile. But it is wrong. Trust me on that. It is wrong. Don't ever write code like this, because it's just wrong in so many ways. No, only one way. Okay. So I know why the result looks like it does. It looks like that, and the correct answer is that one. You do not know how long the response time is. So I actually talked about this morning as well. I've seen this in this second assignment. I haven't looked at your second assignment, but I've seen it earlier years. So what we do, okay, we initialize an XML HTTP request. We open it using get to a server whatever.com, and we send the we send the request. And then we notice that, oh, I can't log the response text because this line of code will happen right after send. So we wrap it inside a timeout and set a timeout for 1 second. And in 1 second we get a response back, like in 700 milliseconds we get a response back, and we log it and everything will work fine. So it's nothing wrong in that way. However, I mean, you can never assume that the response time is a second. But if I say 10 seconds, it shouldn't take longer than 10 seconds. Oh, well. But it's just bad code, because if you set 10 seconds here, then the user will always have to wait 10 seconds. Even though the response is like 50 milliseconds. So if you do it like this, just shows that you don't know how event works, because you should add the event listener to the load on the XML request and then log when you get the answer. Yes?
Yeah, because we were discussing maybe if the send was actually a synchronous command, so it would actually wait until we get the response.
Yeah, so if this one was synchronous, it would in the old version if you added false to the, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So nowadays XML HTTP requests are always asynchronous.
So then we thought like, okay, the worst case we will get the message 1
Yeah.
second later.
Yeah, yeah. But please don't write code like this. I formulated the other one, next one, a little bit different. What is the problems in this case? The problems in this case. And you will get 1 minute on this one as well, starting now. It should say problem, sorry. What is the problem in this case? Yeah. Was it multiple or single question? In single, yeah, so you couldn't vote on several. Please have a discussion, 2 minutes. Twenty seconds. Okay. Where is the synchronous call? The synchronous call?
There's no synchronous.
No, there is no synchronous call. Well, it's true. Synchronous call should always be avoided. No, it's not true, actually. I mean, a normal if you call a function normally in JavaScript, it's a synchronous call. It should only be avoided when, I mean, the function that you call are anticipated to take so long that it's not a good idea to call it. Normal functions execute in microseconds, so it's not a problem. But if you like do a parse of a big data set, then it could pose a problem. Then you should avoid a synchronous call and have an async backup. Okay, so not that one. You should always provide a callback function to the event listener. Where is the callback function to the event listener? Yeah, it's this one. Ajax. Yeah, so we do, actually. So, well, it's correct. It's not a problem. You need to require Ajax. No, that was just in my example this morning. That leaves us to the last one, which was actually not the one top voted. Oh, well, it was in the second. There is so why is it a security concern? Well, what happens in this case, you're getting data from whatever.com, which could be a trusted domain. Could say GitHub or Twitter or something. So we're getting data. We take this data and we just push it into an HTML on the page. We have no idea. Well, we probably have an idea what this response text is. We think that, oh, it's a couple of elements that will do this and that. But we have no assurance. This could inject JavaScripts and start loading other JavaScripts into your site and start phishing the user's information or whatever. It's really, really dangerous to use inner HTML in the first place just because of this problem. It's really a security issue when you read over the network from a server that you don't control entirely. If you control it entirely, well, it could be okay, but don't anyway. I mean, you never know, even from your own server. So instead, if it's text, just use the inner text content, sorry, instead. Don't use inner HTML. And it's, I mean, there are a lot of Twitter had a bug a couple of years ago where users were able to inject JavaScript into links or something like that. And if you had gotten those tweets using their API, you probably gotten that code as well, and you would have executed that on your page. So can't trust the big ones either. Okay, that concludes that pure instruction for today. I will change the schedule so that you will see that it is booked for examination next week. You will see which room we will be in for those of you booking on campus. On Monday, the time slots will be released. Please only book a time slot if you know that you will be more or less finished with the assignment. If there are some bugs, fine. We will address them then. Okay, any questions? No? Thank you for today.